So I'm gonna talk about the case study for Georgia. And okay, so first some summary data as of today. They have like one of the worst COVID cases in the US. There are almost 300,000 confirmed cases. Well, they have done like more than 2 million tests, and well, they also have some antibody tests conducted. And I mean, the data is showing like it's pretty detailed, and why the data is coming detailed, I'll come into that because Georgia, similar to Brazil, I talked last week, encountered some data dilemma or like controversy, and then they just improved it, and which could be really useful and provide some insights for us, I believe. Okay, so this is the source, and I will come back to this later because there are many interesting points. Well, I mean, the data incident was also mentioned as a additional reading at the homework assignment, actually. Okay, so here are the sequence of policy decisions. They confirmed the first case, the 2nd of March, though like in the end of February, there's a new coronavirus task force. And at the middle of March, there was a state of emergency and there are more troops. School closed also on 16th, and there are like shelter in place at the beginning, and it was only for like they call it vulnerable populations. And at the beginning of April, the closure of school was extended for the whole academic year. And lots of things happened in April. Like there's a statewide shelter in place, and regardless of like if you are a vulnerable population, extended state emergency. And I mean, at the 13th of April, the governor finally suspended the anti-masking order of Georgia, which was used to tackle the like some of the racial discrimination masking, which was pretty bad and prevalent in Georgia before. So like they said, you cannot wear any mask in public before the coronavirus. So until April, they like suspended this order. And at the end of April, they gradually reopened non-essential business, which I believe is a mistake. And in June, the contact tracing program was initiated, though like Georgia was kind of less dependent on traditional, like the traditional in a way that like apps I'm talking about, like the Blue Dot or other like online processes. So like their contact tracing was more based on like calls or just texting, and not much happened in July, though like the governor was having a little bit trouble with the mask mandates. And finally, like in August, he agreed that there could be a required masking rule if certain condition was met. Basically, was saying if the confirmed cases reach a certain threshold after the reopening. So about technology interventions, as I mentioned before, the contact tracing was mostly like conducted by the DPH, the Department of Public Health, which just like if they identify the case, they will call you or text you if they identify you as a close contact. Or you can actively reach out, just text the number, say like, hey, I might be under exposure to a possible positive case. There are also some university like Georgia Tech or UGA that were involved in vaccine development, modeling the spread, financial resolutions, and also contact tracing. So one big part of the technology interventions was the telemedicine. So there was a free telehealth app developed by the, I think it's, the Augusta University Health System. So this system was like, as you can see, like 24/7. It's a simple like proxy for preliminary screening if you think you have like suspicious symptoms. And I mean, as I said, it's for preliminary screening, and it's targeting wild population, and you will be set with like one-on-one online communication with an expert to kind of like have a first step diagnosis. And the government also issued several guidelines regarding telehealth. Basically, it's just loosening the scrutiny on telemedicine practices. Okay, so some interesting and unique, well, this is not technically a decision, but this is really worth discussing, I believe. So there was a misleading data visualization at the beginning when the state of Georgia was trying to report the confirmed cases. So there are two figures here. The first one is on the 2nd of July, and the second one is 15 days later. So if you just look at the color, it didn't change much. Like it wasn't the color wasn't getting deep. However, like the trick was that they changed the legend, they changed the scale, right? As you can see, like the red one was changed from 2,900 to like 3,000. So basically, this is just saying that I want the same figure, but I just keep I hide the numbers in the color so that it doesn't look bad. And obviously, this thing sparked some outrageous discussions over Twitter, and they were forced to change the way they were reporting. So now there's a modified version on the whole Department of Public Health website. And it's now showing like over the last 2 weeks, how many new cases were there, how many new cases per capita were there. And so, I mean, now, like, of course, they are having a fixed scale now. And this is actually pretty interesting, and especially if we are working on some kind of like HCI researchers, because we always measure like the perception or the perception of human, the reactions of human. And to assess the significance, there has been a long history of misleading signals in data visualizations, because like I have read a lot about this, so I'll just elaborate a little bit. So this paper, I like it a lot. It's on PLOS ONE. I think it's published in like 2016. So if you look at the plot A, B, C, D, E, if you like B, C, D, E, they like if you represent these plots by bars and standard error or standard deviation, they all look the same. But actually, the data was like super different. It's like the condition, the figure. The situation in B was like the most desirable one. Like it gives you kind of stereotype. If you look at A, you will think of the underlying data points was actually something similar to B. However, other kinds of distribution will generate similar results. Like C, like there were outliers, or there's actually unequal number of data points in each group. So the visualization, this is a topic that we can elaborate and discuss a lot. So I mean, the correct measure was important, and just don't lie. There are other like, yeah.
Go ahead. I said 2 more minutes.
Okay, cool. Other decisions was that schools was reopening for this fall semester. Some top-tier universities such as Georgia Tech refused to provide professors with proper protections, while like they put it in a way that, okay, yes, you can do hybrid class. However, there must be meaningful in-person components. And I know this professor who was swearing over Twitter, so I didn't put the screenshot, but he was kind of like blaming the school with other professors together about such like enforced in-person components, these kind of decisions. So the reopening certainly didn't work out pretty good. cases were surging at the very few days during reopening. The mandatory mask wearing wasn't imposed properly, and like most people accused the governor of being incapable of handling such pandemic. From New York Times, we can see some of the first day of school photos shot by like students, and these are all like some of the high schools in the state of Georgia, I believe. So yeah, that's basically all.
Let's clap for Boyu. Any question?
So to augment Boyu's discussion, so I was having some discussion with some people from Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech is, I believe, at this point conducting like testing for everyone on campus.
Yeah.
Everyone on campus. But then they're saying that, but the other universities in the region, they don't have almost any protocol in place. But they have like invited a lot of students, and many of them has come, and so on. And they have absolutely no idea like how much spread it is, and so on, and how to handle if things go wrong.
Yeah.
I really liked how you went into how data, when it's visualized a certain way, can really send a different sign. And
yeah, exactly.
The perception, I think getting into that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a very good quote, like there are three types of lie, like lie, white lie, and then statistics.
Well, I mean, if you regarding like playing around with the scale was a white lie for people, you don't panic.
And that was another point I would like to add, like our visual system is very much adapted to understand color, not that much text.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to like manipulate color, because we have an intuitive understanding of what red means, what green, what blue means. And I think most people will not look at the scales.
Yeah, and also like the bar plot, if I don't know if you remember, like if you look at the bar plot, you will kind of just stereotype the underlying data distribution was kind of like equal and, you know, symmetric, perfect. But well, most of the time it's not that case.
So one quick question that I had, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you intermittently mentioned that there was initially an anti-mask law or something like that was overturned somewhere along the timeline. So was the number of cases a major factor for overturning that, or were there other political factors coming into picture?
I think it's because of the cases. So like there was this anti-masking law because of the crimes of racial discrimination in Georgia. So like you cannot wear anything. And then as the cases were getting worse, the government has to lift this thing.
Okay, and so this anti-mask law was even prior to the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, it's even prior to the COVID. Okay. They were trying to limit the activity of the KKK organization, which usually put on the costumes. Yeah, that's why they had this anti-masking law at the beginning. So like you cannot cover your face with any like signs or hoods. Yeah.
This racial discrimination was the KKK wearing masks and them saying you can't wear masks?
Yeah. So that's like in public place. So I mean, and then when COVID comes, this thing suddenly, like by the law, it also applies to regular masks.
Okay, got it. Okay. Makes sense.